When I first learned the Soleá Compás, I was taught, as I'm sure you were too, that it follows a 12-beat pattern with accent on 3, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. But in fact, I was lied to. And you too. Because that's not the whole story. And it's not even the beginning of the story. Hi, this is Guillermo for FlamencoMAPS. Welcome to my channel. Whether you dance flamenco, you sing, you play palmas, you play cajon, you play guitar, or you just enjoy listening to it, have you ever felt that there is something weird with this compás de Soleá? That it fits sometimes with the music, but not always? That sometimes it sounds odd with the guitar? Because I did. And there is a good reason for that. It's because, in fact, the Soleá Compás is not as simple, as linear and as straightforward as the usual basic palmas patterns that we are taught. First of all, always remember that a compás and palmas pattern are two different things. I already explained this in detail in a video. There is a lot to say about palmas por Soleá, but we'll work on them together in other videos. Here I want to focus on the compás itself and the music, not the palmas. In this video, I want to explain essential things to better understand here, but also to better feel and better express the Soleá Compás. It's important to hear, to understand, and to practice music and rhythm in all their dimensions. If you learn a new falseta, a new palmas pattern, a new dance step, don't just learn it by heart and execute it blindly. Understand how it works, how it fits into the compás, and you'll see that you'll dance, sing, play, express, and feel better and better. In flamenco, rhythmic cycles are rarely simple, just one dimension. Many types of compasses are actually multidimensional. There are multiple layers of rhythm that overlap, making everything more complex but also more interesting. I use musical examples mainly from the Soleá Palo because usually everyone is familiar with it. These are things that you've at least heard, if not learned. But what I'm going to tell you here is also true for all the palos that share the same Compás type. The Compás type that I call the 12-beat Soleá type compás in my compás classification. Palos like la alegría or the campiñas, bulería por Soleá, la bambera, la caña, el polo, etc. And let's leave aside bulería for now because, as you know, bulería is even more complex. A compás type is a set of rhythmic rules. For this 12-beat Soleá type compás, the usually explained rules are 12 beats, 5 accents on 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, with a tempo that is usually slow to medium, but careful here with the tempo because it never really determines a compás type or a palo. I talked about this already. And two more things. This compás starts on 1, not on 12. We'll come back to that another day because I know there are many confusions there. We also generally learn that we can accentuate the 7 instead of the 6. That's true, and there are good reasons for that, and we'll start talking about it today. But for now, let's keep it basic on 6. We can legalize this compás like this. 5 Legos, 2 pink Legos of 3 beats, and 3 yellow Legos of 2 beats, with the accents on the last beat of each Lego. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we can also clockify it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. The problem is that often we reduce a compás type to just a set of rhythmic rules and regulations that we follow and practice blindly. We learn 1 or 2 palmas pattern and that's it. We start playing, dancing, singing on top of it, but we never question it. Where does it come from? What is the musical effect? Is it really always how it works? Is it really what we hear in the music? What's important when we explore these kind of things is to start from the base, from the beginning, from here. Beyond the rules that we've been explained, let's start from the perception of the music itself. And for this, there is nothing better than paying special attention to the guitar. The guitar tells us much more about the compás than a simple set of cold and soulless numbers and accents. there are several different elements in the flamenco guitar's traditional vocabulary, like simple compass loops or what some people call marcajes. There are falsetas, variations, remates. When I say traditional here, I mean what guitarists have been playing since forever. I mean, since the first recordings or the first flamenco scores in the 19th century. Of course, el toque keeps evolving. We don't play exactly the same way people used to play in the 19th century, but in the toque we still find these traditional elements. And the different elements tell us different things about the compass. So let's explore them together. First, I can just play compass, that is, the basic rhythmic loops that we play, for example, when we are in a waiting position or when we accompany a singer. Here, yes, the accentuations on 3, 6, 8, 10, 12 works perfectly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's call this way, this system, the 12 feel. Remates and cierres also emphasize this 12 feel. Another day we'll talk in detail about the internal dynamics of this cycle accented this way, how it lives, how it breathes, because there is a lot to say. But for today, let's leave it at this. And now what about the falsetas? Falsetas are long melodic, harmonic, and rhythmic variations over several compasses. They have a structure, a development, an unfolding. So let's listen to a few traditional Soleá falsetas, but let's pretend that you've never heard Soleá or even you've never heard flamenco in your life. You have no idea about this compass in 12, nothing. And you hear this. Or this. Or this. Or even this, which is very, very traditional. Or this tremolo. In all this I just played, could you hear the accents on 3, 6, 8, and 12? Could you perceive that cycle? Because I couldn't. So where did you really hear, where did you perceive accents? How would you clap your palmas spontaneously? If it's not clear, go back and listen again. Magic of YouTube. What you should have heard is just a succession of 3 beats cycle, like pink Legos, always with the accent on the first beat of each Lego. But you know that Soleá is in 12 beats, right? So you just need 4 Legos of 3 beats and you obtain 12 beats. Accented not on 3, 6, 8, 10, 12 anymore, but on 1, 4, 7, and 10. And that changes everything. Well, almost everything, because the 10, more about this in a bit. So Soleá, before this weird, irregular, complex pattern we all learned first, it has another compass, another cycle that is actually much simpler, much more natural, much more regular, and that fits much better to a large proportion of what is played for Soleá. And we can call this system the 3 feel. The music itself suggests the accents on 1, 4, 7, and 10, right? Not on 3, 6, 8, 10, 12. So what's happening there? Have we been lied to? Yes and no. It's just more subtle than that. Very concretely, it's often a very specific element of the music that marks these accents on 1, 4, 7, and 10. It's the bass line, the lowest note of what's being played. The bass is very important to perceive because it often expresses another dimension of rhythm, what we call the harmonic rhythm. The harmonic rhythm is the pace at which chords change. Here we are for Soleá, so the harmonic context is the flamenco mode based on the Andalusian cadence. If you remember from that video, it's composed of 4 steps going down, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the bass line is enough to express the Andalusian cadence. 4, 3, 2, 1. Many traditional falsetas are built on this cadence. And the way it is distributed on a 12-beat cycle gives a specific harmonic rhythm. The 4 steps of the cadence are distributed evenly over 4 Legos, 1 step per Lego, and the chords change every first beat. For example, the great guitarist Rafael Riqueni captured this essence at the very beginning of his magnificent Soleá Calle Fabi. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12. Easy, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. Sometimes with variation, but the cadence is still there. Sometimes just with half cadence, just going from step 2 to 1, but always every 3 beats. Sometimes it's just not the Andalusian cadence, but still we respect this structure of chord changes every 3 beats. So there is, so to speak, the rhythmic rhythm and then the harmonic rhythm. If we consider these 2 layers of the compass at the same time, we obtain a multidimensional compass with no longer 5 accents, but 8 accents on 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 12. This multidimensional compass and this multitude of accents give many more possibilities and more complex rhythmic sensation. And considering one dimension or the other can make you feel the music in different ways. In the 12 feel like this, I really feel each accent as the end of something, the end of what was coming before. I feel each Lego as a conclusive unity. This one, 1, 2 land on 3, 4, 5 land on 6, 7 landing on 8, 9 landing on 10, 11 landing on 12. And for example, these 2 Lego, 7, 8, 9, 10, can merge into one single Lego of 4 beats. It's a famous 7, 8, 9, 10. And musically, rhythmically, and melodically, it makes sense. This whole section lands on 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are thousands like this. But in 3 feels, the accent is the first beat of each Lego, and it feels to me as the beginning of something. You can perceive this very clearly in the typical rueda de Escobillas de Soleá. And for that matter, same thing in an Escobilla de Alegría. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are two beats that are particularly interesting here because they can instantly take us from one dimension to the other. The 7 that we mark in the common variant of the basic palmas pattern instead of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We are in 12 feel, but this 7 can be understood and felt as a reminder of the other dimension. It's very powerful. It generates a lot of dynamic compared to the beat 6 because it puts two accents side by side, 7 and 8. And the beat 10 is also very interesting because it's the only one common to both dimensions. It turns out that it's the traditional beat of resolution both harmonically and rhythmically. When we do a cierre, a closing on a 12-beat Soleá type compass, we usually close on 10, except in a baile por Soleá when it's very slow, and we also have the option of closing on 12. We'll come back to that another day. No matter in which dimension we are, there is a meeting point on 10, like a portal that communicates between both dimensions. Starting on 10 and then 11, 12, we find this little guitar remate that is so specific to Soleá, right? Like this. Or this. It's always 10, 11, 12. And this gives a lot of stability, consistency to the compass. Because every time we land on this, it's like, okay, we know where we are. The beauty of flamenco guitar is to be able to express these different dimensions at the same time. I've already talked about this aspect in the Fandango de Huelva. On the guitar, we obviously play chords and notes, which mark harmonic changes, chord changes, but we also play golpes on the soundboard to mark rhythmic accents. In the traditional guitar vocabulary, the golpes are not placed randomly. They are not wherever you want to put them. They have a function. They can reinforce in 12 feel, or when you play falseta in 3 feel, you can also play golpes on the first beat of each Lego. But the golpes can also help express the multidimensionality. For example, when we mark 1 and 3 with golpes for basic compass. Sometimes in basic compass, we play golpes on 7, 8, 9, 10. It reinforces the conclusive character of this blue Lego. You may have noticed that there are a lot of traditional falsetas por Soleá that are built with 6 beats cells, like one same medio compass, half compass in the 3 feel dimensions, repeated twice to make 12, like this one. And we can visualize this kind of falsetas like this. For this type of falseta, it makes sense to play golpe on 1, 4, and 6, 7, 10, and 12. Another day we'll talk about the medio compás por Soleá because it's another fascinating topic. But we can't talk about everything today. This video will be long enough. Even sometimes we play golpes on every beat. The Twilight Zone. Another very good example of this superposition of dimension is what I call the variations. Variations on the guitar are like elaborate version of the basic compass. They are not yet falsetas because they are usually like standalone one single compass, but they already have a specific melody that is easy to identify, a kind of signature that allows us many times to identify a palo or a family of palo. I'm sure you've heard this kind of signature variation por Soleá. Or this. Many of these variations are fascinating because they are in both dimensions at the same time, with the strumming pattern and the golpes marking the 12 feel, 3, 6, And at the same time, the harmonic rhythm with chord changes on 1, 4, 7, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And here we go again into the multi-dimension. It seems that the further back we go in time, the clearer and the more separated the rhythmic treatment of the different elements of the toque was. Basic Compás was mostly in 12 feel, falsetas were mostly in 3 feel, and variations in between. But the sense of the Compás evolves, and nowadays it seems that everything is getting more and more articulated in 12 feel. Many of the more modern falsetas por Soleá are accented in 12 feel, but not all of them, otherwise the toque por Soleá would lose its essence. If you listen to great guitarists like Paco de Lucía, Vicente Amigo, Diego del Morao, just a few examples among many, you'll see that they constantly switch from one system to the other and sometimes just remain in between. They know how to take advantage of all these possibilities to the fullest. The accentuation also depends on the tempo. Even if tempo is not really a determinant of a palo or a Compás type, it still influences how we feel a rhythm, how we give life to it, and what we can do with it. It seems that the slower the tempo, the more we'll stick to the 1, 4, 7, 10 articulation. This is very clear in the falsetas por Soleá para baile for a dancer. Olé. Another very good example of this very slow articulation in 3 feel is El Silencio de la Alegría, which I explained in detail already in this video. But as soon as it gets faster, it becomes more ambivalent, and we can easily switch from one feel to the other or remain in between with all our 8 possible accents. But that's not all, there is more. It's especially during Escobillas that it gets crazy. An escobilla is the rhythmically virtuoso part of a baile, where the dancer is supposed to reveal their skills not only in footwork, but also in rhythm understanding and creativity. When we enter into the escobilla, we enter the realm of maximum rhythmic exploration in all possible dimensions and into all possible directions. One of the reasons why dancers are confused and have difficulty to move from one phase to an escobilla to another is because the different phases correspond to different dimensions, different fields, and the way of understanding, counting, and switching from one to another are not clear. I will not go into those details here, but it's definitely something we'll have to clean up later. I would just like to say that in an Escobilla por Soleá you can find the primary accentuation in 1, 4, 7, 10, especially in very slow or medium fast escobilla with this very famous rueda that you know. But then when it goes a bit faster, we tend to settle on the 3, 6, 8, 10, 12 accents. Or this. But with this, you can do something else. You can choose to accentuate it every 3 beats, but on the last beat of each pink Lego. And this gives us another cycle, another dimension, always in 12, but accenting the 3, 6, 9, and 12. And if you see, the harmonic rhythm is still on 1, 4, 7, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But the golpes give exactly the opposite beat of each Lego. So here we have 2 accents per Lego, the first and the last beat of each Lego. 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 12. Oh. So here we have 9 accents. Crazy, right? And it happens a lot in an Escobilla por Soleá when the dancer is doing one thing, the guitarist is doing another thing, so palmeros are doing a third thing, and everything works together. For Soleá, we are constantly in these dimensions at the same time. Sometimes more on one side, sometimes more on the other, but always with this ambiguity due to these coexisting possibilities. It sounds very good, very tasteful when you are used to it, but it can also confuse us because it's not at all straightforward. That's the polyrhythmic character of Soleá, and that's beautiful. What I wanted to show you today is that often we learn a compass too quickly and too superficially. I don't want to add layers of complexity. On the contrary, when we break things down like this, we see that there are different layers and they are not that complicated if we take them separately, but put them together and the magic happens. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't hesitate to like, to share, to ring the bell. Please subscribe to the channel. Check the other videos. There are many of them. Also support my work on Patreon. And by the way, thank you so much to my patrons who are already supporting me. If you want to help me produce more videos and more content, I leave the link in the description. Also go and visit FlamencoMAPS.com where I explain my online classes and courses and my way of teaching flamenco. See you next time. Till then, don't forget, practice and enjoy.